Hey folks, welcome back to Money and Politics. It is the 11th of August, and I just wanted to give you a quick update today on a couple of things that we have been following over the last, couple of months. In addition to Humble, we've covered a number of things, and hopefully they're all going to bear fruit. Sometimes you get into these periods of time where there's not a lot of price action necessarily, but there are developments. Now, one thing that I haven't had a chance to really go over, and I should, is speaking of the infrastructure deal, and then late last night, the Senate, on just Democratic votes, passed with the Vice President the $3.5 trillion budget blueprint. Now, that is not going to become law yet. It has to go through both houses, as does the infrastructure bill. The infrastructure bill is the one with the bad language. Excuse me, for I just came in from outside and it's so muggy, I'm itchy. The infrastructure bill also has to go through the House. That's the one that was passed with 69 votes in the Senate. So neither of those are done deals. But I would say the infrastructure bill with the bad language on crypto and blockchain is more likely to go through both houses of Congress. We'll have to see what happens. But now that they're going to be spending this much money, if I give you my quick overview of what's going on in the economy between, well, let's say more or less over the next 6 months. Probably over the next 6 months, the economy is going to do well, and maybe over the next year. And why is that? Well, on one hand, because we're coming out of the COVID, we're continuing in stages to reopen. Yes, you got the Delta variant, you go back and forth on masks. I'm not going to get into that, but the point is, in the larger context, we're going to be, I think, reopening the world economy more so than what we were in 2020. Now, number two, we're going to, and we have been spending money here in America like drunken sailors. I mean, the amount of money that we're putting into the economy is at the very least, it may well give us a bad headache and hangover in the outlying years, in 2 years from now, and further. With higher inflation, we start to see that already. But the economy is going to be probably doing pretty well because people are going to have a lot of money circulating. With all this deficit spending the federal government is doing. I'm not in favor of that personally, but in the short run, it's party time. And again, the hangover comes later. Okay, so that said, let's take a quick look. We had today in the markets, and all of a sudden I can't find where's my Humble. Just to briefly go over Humble, and I'm going to go over some other things here in a bit. You can see we were down a little bit, but the volume was pretty weak. 2.4 million shares were that's about a third of what we've been doing. And I think it was, I saw Rebecca retweeted what someone else had tweeted, that Humble may be in the quiet period now. So we'll probably be getting some news coming out here before too long relative to Humble. But right now, there's just not much to drive the stock one way or the other. Now, so one thing I wanted to do is to update on FUBO-TV, and I'll do that in a minute because that's going to be a little bit longer. I want to also bring back up, here we have InMode down $3. It's up in after hours slightly, but you see the last month here chart for InMode. Again, this is like one of my really favorite stocks. I know this is no penny stock, but folks, I think this is going to grow and grow well for years to come. If we go over the last 5 days, you can see I think this is a buy at these prices. And you can see, but if you look at where this has gone over the last year, you know, when you say, well, it's kind of down over the last 5 days, yeah, and you know, it's kind of choppy over the last month, but when you look at it in a year, that is a thing of beauty there. If I go out 5 years, it's not 5 years old, but there you go, where it fell down. This is the low point here, right at the March of 2020 because of COVID. But as we came out, it went back and is going to be growing. And I think that we see here this kind of plateau. I need to reach over. That's not that long ago. This is like 1% type I'm trying to read when I get that. So basically what you're seeing here is when we peaked here in July and it's been down. That's why I say I think this is somewhat of a buying period. I don't anticipate this to be going down. And one thing I want you to see, as we look down, look on the right side here. Look at these earnings. First of all, the dots beat here in the, I think that's the second quarter. But anyway, you can see beat on earnings, beat on earnings, beat on earnings. And this is the first quarter here. And then when we go down and look to the left here where I'm highlighting, InMode reports second quarter financial reports, revenues of 87 million represents 184% year over year. 184% revenue growth. Let's look down here at the charts and we'll see, look at the green, and that's revenue growth over the last 4 years. And they just became publicly traded in about August of 2019. Then we hit COVID, of course, and it went down. Folks, I think this is going to continue to run, and I think do well for the next 5 years, maybe longer. But I think you've got a lot of growth that's going to be growing in this company, and there are still plenty of people who are unfamiliar with InMode, INMD. Look at the revenue in blue, the revenue growth. I mean, here we are back in 2017, $8 million, and now we go forward to 2020, $75 million. So almost a tenfold increase in earnings. This is a thing of beauty, and even if you buy 1, 2, or 5 shares, I would say do that. Buy yourself some shares, okay? Now, back on June 21st was I did an update, or I did a story where I talked about FUBO, and that's FUBO, FUBO-TV. And that is, you can go back and look that up on my channel, June 21. I don't know if I misspoke, on June 21. And at the time, I showed you this, and here, FUBO is kind of a replacement. You're still going to have cable. You got to have broadband, that is. But if you just had broadband, this is where you can have sports broadcasting and a lot of other cable channels here. Now, at the time, I also showed you, this is from back in June when I brought this up, FUBO-TV to launch sports betting division and app in the fourth quarter. This is one reason I would say that you want to be buying this now. Now, what's new? Well, since that time, we came out and there was an article today, and it says here, let me see if I can bring that back up. It says here, let me remove myself. Sports-centric TV streamer FUBO scores big second quarter beat. The shares of FUBO jumped today, Wednesday, August 11th, after the sports-focused multi-channel streaming service crushed Wall Street's targets for the second quarter and raised its guidance for the full year. FUBO-TV stock surged 8% on the news. Late Tuesday, FUBO-TV said it added, now listen to this, folks. FUBO-TV said it added 91,000 subscribers in the June quarter, ending the period with 682,000 total subscribers. The analysts expected the company to add not 91,000, they expected the company to add 12,000 new subscribers in the second quarter. Instead, they added 91,000 new subscribers. That's the kind of growth in subscribers that's going to bring in a lot more revenues. Now, they're still losing revenue at this time. They lost an adjusted 38 cents a share on sales of basically, let's say, 130 million, just under 131 million for the second quarter. Wall Street had expected a loss of 49 cents a share, not 38 cents. And so, as a result, what we're seeing, and let me bring this something else back up here. And I apologize. Again, the stock is FUBO as in Oscar, FUBO-TV. And so as a result, the stock is 31.82. Now, when I told you back in June, the stock was 31.62. So it's basically not done anything for about the last 6 weeks, at least from then. You can go back, let's say, a month. We actually went down, but we're now back up. But here it jumped today, $3.18, down slightly, as you can see, in after hours. The volume, 35 million. So that's a lot. That's almost 3 times the recent daily average, 35 million shares traded, which means you're going to be building with a lot of shareholders a new base. Now, can it go down from here? Of course it can. What you want to do, as we've said about Humble, you want to be buying these companies for future growth. And this is why I'm telling you, I think FUBO has a lot of growth coming over the next 3 years. So while we're in Humble land and we all are looking at Humble to expand its dynamics and build, these companies are a little more established. Certainly InMode is. FUBO is also relatively new, but it is out there growing its revenues, still losing money, but growing its revenues, going to the, getting its fourth quarter, again, sports app out, coming in the fourth quarter, beating the street, increasing revenues, adding a heck of a lot of people. And even if you're not in the sports betting, they have a whole array of different channels that you can watch, from entertainment to news channels. Again, obviously, you still got to have broadband connection. So I wanted to update you on those things, especially as we are in this kind of quiet time for Humble. I think we're just, again, waiting for some of the developments which will be coming. And so that's it. Folks, if you have any thoughts on this, let me know. I hope you're staying cool. I was just outside doing some things briefly in the yard, and it is muggy as heck. But I hope you have a good evening, and I will keep an eye on developments here. Again, I expect we'll be seeing something from Humble probably in the relatively near future. All right, that's it for tonight. Take care, folks. We'll see you again tomorrow.